All righty, says we're live.
So have you done your project? Have you done your
Oh no, I'm doing that this upcoming week.
Me too. What day are you doing yours?
I'm doing mine on Wednesday and Thursday.
I'm doing mine on Thursday. I only have one so far scheduled. So, but I'm doing mine on Thursday and hopefully get another one by that weekend.
I was originally scheduled to do it last night and tonight, but then I'm just not prepared
Yeah.
and I could not, it took me forever to get a response back from the other location I wanted to do, which
Hmm.
is funny because I'm doing uh helping understanding your teenagers,
Hmm.
and I'm doing it at schools. I thought would be good locations to do something like that. So I'm doing it at the elementary school that my younger kids go to, which is just couple blocks away, and for here in Idaho Falls. And then my husband teaches in a town up the road, and I thought, oh, I'll just use his school. You know,
Hmm.
it took for his assistant principal over scheduling. It took him forever to get back to me.
Hmm.
So, and I asked David once, I was like, so did you happen to talk to the guy? Because I left him a voicemail a long time ago. Yeah, he calls me. I've been busy.
Yeah.
Uh huh. Okay. It's all scheduled now.
That's
So,
good. That's good. I'm excited to hear how it goes for you. I did like I'm so behind on everything. Just last week or the week before I did like the trial run with my husband. And he was really honest with me. He's like, you need to practice. I'm like, yeah, I know, it's the first time. But it only took like 45 minutes for me to do it to just him, and it's supposed to take 2 hours, which made me nervous. He's like, no, when you have a group of women, I'm glad it only took you 45 minutes, me and you, because I was only answering and there was no one else to like also talk. You're gonna be fine. So
yeah.
I
You
hope
did
you
the
have the
whole run through for your practice one.
yeah,
Okay, because I think we were only needed to do it for 20 or 30 minutes or something.
yeah. But I'm so far behind that I'm like, I have to do it from start to finish with someone listening to me. And he was like, I'll
Yeah.
listen. I'm like, okay, cool, thank you. And I'm working on the PowerPoint. Hopefully that gets done. I want to get that done today. That's my goal. And then I can just start practicing it over and over again every day.
Are you just using a traditional PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Because I really want to use Prezi. In fact, I've started it. And um, have you ever used Prezi?
Yeah. I had to use it for a class.
I I like it. I like the way it looks. I just think it's more visually appealing than a
Yeah.
traditional PowerPoint.
Yeah.
But when I was looking at the example portfolio submission, she's got like each slide from her presentation
Hmm.
in there, and I don't know how I could do that from a
You could
Prezi.
probably just do your link because I can still view my Prezi that I made forever ago with a link.
Well, right, but I mean with each different slide,
Yeah.
putting those separately on my portfolio.
Do you have an Apple? Apple.
No,
Oh, I was gonna say I know how you could take a screenshot. So
I
like
don't
I would,
even. I'm sure I could take a screenshot, but I don't know how to do that on my computer. I haven't figured that out yet.
yeah,
It's
you're right.
lasted me all through school, and now I'm going, I don't know how to
Yeah.
do a screenshot.
Yeah, because if you could do a screenshot, you could just bring up each slide, screenshot each slide, save them on your computer, and then just put them on there.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm using a
I'll have to
PowerPoint, but
figure
I'm
out.
not using it. I don't know. I really, really don't like when people overuse their PowerPoints to the point of like, you can read faster than the presenter can talk. So when they have every word list up there, you read it all. You're not even listening to what they're saying. You've read it and you look over and they're like halfway through saying it orally. It's
Right.
just, I don't want that. So I'm just, I'm using it more as like to help the participants keep track of where I am, you know?
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, now we're talking about stress. What is stress? That's what we're talking about. Not what is stress, boom, 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 all over the PowerPoint. It's more
Uh-huh.
of like almost like decoration than so. I have a few quotes, like some of the really like research-based quotes I put up there, just because I think I'll time it so I'll say it first without anything behind me. I'll read them all or say them all and then have them behind me. So then when we're
Uh-huh.
discussing, they can look at it and be like, oh, okay, because I read it to my husband. He's like, what? It's like, I know, I don't know. I can't, we have to use research based information, and that's just how it sounds. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
I'm sure it'll be great
yeah.
when it
Well,
comes to it. I have only 3 or 4 people that have signed up so far, so I'm a little nervous that one person at my husband's school sign up for that location, but it was actually a person that is locally, so would have went to the other. It just didn't work for her. She had something going on that night.
Yeah.
She canceled because she had something going on both nights.
Oh.
And so I don't have anybody at one of my locations as of yet.
I didn't even
But
think to like have people RSVP or anything.
what's that?
I didn't even think to have anyone RSVP.
Oh, yeah, I'm hoping people just show up. My
Mhm.
husband is doing a play at the school in Rigby, and they have dress rehearsal and their potluck Wednesday night. So I'm hoping that after that, my thing starts the same time as their potluck. So I'm hoping that
Yeah.
when they're finished eating, maybe I'll get some stragglers that kind of come
Stick around.
in.
Yeah. Luckily,
But
it's not a requirement to have people show up.
that's true.
It's not like you have to have at least 10 people or anything.
Yeah.
I know, I'm hoping people show up just so that it like flows, because if there's two people there, they're gonna get sick of talking and then it's just
Right.
be
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I'm afraid of too, that there's not going to be enough interaction because there's not going to be enough people, so then it's going to be like wicked short.
Yep, exactly. Which again, we're supposed to have it be so many hours, but I think that that's kind of out of our control if we've done our part.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm trying not to stress about all those things that I can't control. It's ironic that my presentation's on stress when this is like the most stressful part of all my college career I've ever had to deal with.
It is. It is. It's been so overwhelming that
Yeah.
I've just been procrastinating part of it just
Mhm.
because I get so overwhelmed, I don't know where to begin.
Yeah.
And anyway,
Yeah. With the holidays
yeah.
and everything, I don't know if people are going to even want to be showing up if they're already leaving town. I know like my kids got only half days of the whole week. So,
Really?
mm-hmm.
All next week?
Yeah, well, they're doing parent teacher conferences. So I'm
Oh,
thinking like parents might be like, so they've had their kids home since noon. Maybe they'll be willing to get out of the house and come talk about stress. I don't know.
right. Right.
All right, should we talk about some of these questions?
Yeah, we should. Um, there was just a few of them that kind of caught me. I really liked reading the ethics guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Um, although I was thinking while I was reading them, that they're not exactly cut and dry,
Yeah.
and so you got to make um, personal decisions, I guess, based on our own personal values,
Yeah.
where we think that line needs to be drawn, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No, it does. And I don't know if you read, so we, after we turned in our ethics that we did, our ethics outline or whatever you want to call it, then you read the
Mm-hmm.
example. Did you read it?
Oh no, I forgot to go back and do
Okay,
that.
well, I can tell you, it just said that no matter what, you always report abuse. If it's suspected, like you don't have to know for sure. And I was really surprised by that because I was thinking, when we were our that we turned in, we kind of wrote that we would talk to everybody else that's dealing with this mother and child and see what they thought and maybe collaborate and see if we should report it or because and I was surprised when it was like, in no way, shape, or form do you wait. You don't wait for another professional. It says that. You don't wait for someone else. If you suspect abuse or if it's mentioned by a person, you report it.
Yeah. I was at my kids' school picking up my girls, my two youngest, my one's in elementary school. I was in there. This probably happened maybe 2 months ago. I was in there to pick them up, and some lady walks in. It's one of their duty aides for recess, and she comes into the office and she asks the secretary. She goes, "I need to talk to somebody about something," and the secretary said, "Well." And she goes, "Well, I don't know who to talk to." And the secretary's like, "Okay, what's the problem?"
Yeah.
And the lady said, "I just was talking to one of the students, or she had overheard something. I can't remember how she had said it. But anyway, she goes, I think I need to report suspected abuse, and she goes, oh, well, then that would be the school counselor. Go down and talk to, the school counselor." So I was just like, wow, and it's all around us,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and,
Sure.
and I'm embarrassed to say that there's been times in my life where I should have reported abuse and didn't.
Yeah. I
you
was,
know, and
yeah, I was really surprised to hear that, like that we're just supposed to report it because when I was a kid, I grew up in a really low income area. I mean, just the town in general. And there was a lot of abuse and neglect going on. And there was a family that their mother was, um, had some sort of mental handicap of some kind. And I don't know what all was going on, but it ended up that, I mean, these kids would show up to school dirty, same clothes, which wasn't always uncommon. And, that doesn't necessarily equate to abuse, but it ended.
that means my kids didn't put their clothes in the laundry and I don't clean up after them.
Exactly. But then the daughter kind of started to act in a way that kind of made people think maybe there's some sexual abuse happening
Yeah.
and bruises and things. And then, but nobody reported it. And then this couple had another child and it ended up that they threw this infant against the wall and just, oh, awful things I don't want to talk about. And then
Right.
the father was having the brother and sister sexually abuse each other. And it's like the community knew that something was going on with these two kids, but it
Or
took.
at least if something was off and needed investigated.
And it's like, I always wondered, even as a kid, like, why did no one help? And now, as
Right.
learning all of this stuff, I'm even more appalled that someone in the school system didn't report it.
Yeah.
Consistently dirty kids, and not just like wrinkled clothes or old clothes. Like they were dirty. It's just awful.
Oh, that's so sad.
But I had the question too when I read that, like, well, at what point though would they benefit more from having all of these intervention programs versus reporting the abuse? And then, you know, I know that some
Yeah.
agencies don't pull through for people. If they would have pulled the father and the daughter from the programs, the dad would have and ran off or something, then you might have just escalated what they were dealing with.
And where does the abuse line, where's that drawn? Obviously physical abuse, but when you're talking about verbal and emotional abuse, I mean,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
where is it? I mean, those are just as bad, but they're harder to,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know my husband's dad would physically not beat them, but like punish them with physical violence.
Yeah.
And there was one time that my husband's mom called the police. His mom and dad were divorced, and what ended up is my father-in-law punched my husband. So the sister calls the police. The police show up, or the sister calls the mom and is like, "Dad just punched Lanny. Like this is like punched him, mom." So the
Yeah.
stepmom or the mom calls and the cops show up. But the cops asked Lanny, like, what happened? Was it open hand or closed fist? And Lanny didn't want to get his dad in trouble, and so he lied and said he just slapped me, like, because I was being bad. It's not.
So open hand is okay and closed fist isn't?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. And the cops just left him there. I mean, he had to have had a mark if his dad punched him, right? And they just left him there.
possibly, yeah.
So, I always think of that too. Like, what if me reporting something is only gonna, if they're so entwined in the abuse that they don't speak up? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I guess it makes it really easy to know that you always report it. That is your job. And then if
Yeah.
you don't, then it's on you.
My cousin has a little girl that's the same age as one of my younger girls. And a few years ago, she was over playing. And she just kept saying these things like she and her brother is, let me think, 4 years older than her, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And she kept saying that things like when they're asleep, sometimes she accidentally bumps him or he'll
Mm-hmm.
move up against her. And I'm like, you guys share the same bed? I mean, that's just weird.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, yeah, we do. And I'm like, hmm. And then she would just say other things that were just, I mean, my daughter's 10 now. So this
Yeah.
was probably when they were 7, 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And she would just say these weird things. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine my daughter saying those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So I actually called CPS and I was like, I'm not sure what to do. And
Yeah.
this is just kind of sounding fishy and weird. And,
Yeah.
so the lady said, well, if you're just assuming I can't remember exactly what she told me. Like I said, this was a few years ago, but she told me, she's like, you need to talk to your cousin and find out, if that you suspect that there might be something going on.
Yeah.
And so I talked to him when he came to pick her up, and he and his daughter's mom were never married, but they have 2 kids together.
Yeah.
And I told him, I'm like, she's just saying these weird things. It just kind of sounds inappropriate. And he said that when she's at her mom's house, she and her brother share a bed. That's just how the sleeping arrangements are, because there's like 2 rooms in the house. So their mom and her boyfriend have one, and then those 2 have one. And I'm just like, that's just weird. I don't know. But anyway, he was like, oh, I don't think there's anything going on, but the sleeping arrangements aren't exactly ideal and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I did my part. I called CVS to see what I should do, and I talked to him. So
yeah. Well,
I don't know.
I have a friend who's trying to adopt her sister's children, and the children were put in an awful situation I want to talk about. And they're like requiring her to move because her house only has 2 rooms. And even though the brother and sister are like 4 and 2 or 5 and 3, I mean, young, they have their own beds. The adoption, for the adoption to go through, they're almost requiring her to find a new location where they have their own rooms.
Yeah.
So I mean,
at a certain age, I know they have to split them.
Yeah. Hey, just a heads up. I have people. My dog had puppies, and we're selling puppies, and I have people. Yeah. Do you want to see them? I'm just kidding. I have people coming, so they're supposed to be here. She said 15 minutes, about 5-10 minutes ago. So if I'm just like, someone's here, that's what happened. Okay.
Okay. I don't even know how long we've been.
I don't either.
Going, but let's see.
Talk about that.
Oh, I really liked how in the LFI model that it went through the different levels of being a family life educator, because I guess I didn't realize or think about there being different levels. And then back over to the ethics, and ethics 3.5, it says practice within your level of competency. And I'm like, oh, those kind of, tie together. Yeah. I think I'm more of a level 2 type person. 3 would make me a little nervous, but
Did you read the Myers article too?
Where they're picking it apart.
Yeah. I was like, because I liked it too. I'm like, oh my gosh, clear cut levels where I can understand. And then I started reading the other thing, and I'm like, oh, look at all these problems they have with that. Great. I appreciate it.
Of course, that is just their opinion. The opinion of I think there was a few of them that put that together.
Yeah, exactly. It is so vague though. Like, what do you do? Yeah. What does an FLE do? Outreach programs, but not really one-on-one stuff. And we can't get too specific. Kind of have to teach just to the general demographics of the audience that we suspect is going to show up. I mean, it's so vague. Yeah. And I think that's why I struggled to create my my workshop for so long, because I mean, I tailored it Relief Society women, 18 and older. I mean, I tried to eliminate any variables that I didn't want to deal with. But I'm thinking, if this was like a community outreach program, we have Russians in this community, we have Hispanics, we have Caucasians, we have a few African Americans, it's like, how in the world do you generally speak to an audience? Yeah. I still am not really sure how that works.
Well, yeah, me neither. Yeah.
No, but I did like that. I did like that article too, where it kind of created guidelines. And I think the Myers-Walls article just kind of confused me even more. And it was just like, I don't feel like I understand this any better, knowing that what I just kind of briefly skimmed over is not accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. I think she had us maybe read both of them, so maybe we can come up with how we personally feel about it, instead of just being swayed by one thing. Hey, here's this, and then here's this other one that tears that one apart. But anyway, was there anything else that stood out to you that you want to?
I don't think so. We talked, I think the ethics thing was one of my main, what captured my attention most throughout the last 3 weeks. It was just, I liked reading them and then applying them to those case studies, and then kind of it gave me a real world application more than anything else.
Right. I wish we kind of could have taken more time, gone more in depth on the ethics, just because I don't feel I understand them as well as I need to or want to. I know I don't understand them as well as I want to, and I just want to be prepared. And
me too.
I don't know.
I'm really excited for this workshop only because I feel like it will give me a good taste of what I'm up, like what I should expect.
Yeah.
I'm not really talking about anything like sensitive. I mean, I'm talking about stress and mindfulness. I'm not talking about spousal things or parenting things where it can get a little personal, you know,
Right.
very general. So I think that's why also I'm looking forward to the internship because again, that application, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I'm with you. I'm really excited about those opportunities too.
okay. Do you
So,
want to stop the recording and
yeah.